I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it a light.
Hi friends, welcome back to Daydreamers Barn. I'm Jess.
I'm Chris.
And today we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to do take a toast or take a shot.
Yeah, toast for the Remembrance Day and Veterans Day.
And then we're going to do some things that, like phrases and stuff that we absolutely love from here in the UK that we've heard. And then I want to share some Southern phrases with you guys that hopefully you guys will enjoy. And then we're also going to throw in our drive to Newmarket this past
a little while ago.
A little bit ago. And so yeah, we're gonna do that. And
show the piece that you picked up.
Yeah, show the piece and everything. So hopefully this is just like a vlog, just a bunch of different things thrown into one lump video.
Yeah.
You think that's good?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoy this style. So we'll see.
Starting off.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So this weekend
coming up
is for the UK and US. Got some good holidays coming up.
Yeah.
UK, it's Remembrance Day for all those that have fallen, and then we have Veterans Day for all of the US military vets out there. So we want to take a couple seconds and
to honor the veterans and to honor those that are no longer here with us.
Absolutely.
So cheers, everybody. So if you want to toast with us, cheers. Okay, so if we want to, we can jump into the phrases.
Yep.
And the ones that we found
ones that we found that we had some comparisons from UK and US.
So that's what we'll start with. So if we want to jump in.
Sure. First one is going to be chinwag.
Chinwag. And we also use shooting the breeze. That is something that us Americans, or I don't know if it's just a Southern thing, or I think shooting the breeze is just like a term.
Yeah.
So chinwag, just chatting, you know what I mean, talking to your mate, your friend, you know what I mean, just shooting the breeze.
BSing.
Yeah. It's pretty cool to have some ones that are very similar.
Yeah, that we can pull apart and say, yep. that one correlates with that pretty well.
But if you hear chinwag at first, you're gonna have no clue, if you're an American, what that is. Just like if an American says, "I'm gonna shoot the breeze with this person," you're gonna be like, well, "What are you doing?" Well, we shouldn't have weapons over here in the UK. So the next one is chuffed to bits. I have enjoyed hearing that. Chuffed to bits. That you're pleased. And I would say peachy keen, just my Southern way. It's just peachy keen. It's, that I'm pleased. I'm happy with the way something is. So yeah, I was caught off guard when I heard
a lot of these ones for the first time I heard. I had no idea what they were talking about.
Chuffed to bits. You're like, well, what is chuffed? Why are you chuffed? What does chuffed mean? And then you have to have your friend like pause a moment and explain, and you're like, I'm so sorry, I took the fun out of it. And then the next one is it's one that I don't think I'll ever get used to hearing.
That's an interesting one. So in America, we say, hey, can I pet your dog?
Yeah.
And over here, can I stroke your dog?
Yeah, my mind goes to dirty things,
Not something that you would really, you'd be looked at sideways in America if you said, hey, can I stroke your dog?
He was like, what do you want to do to my dog? Or what do you want to do to me?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. We're strangers here. So the next one is I'm knackered. Knackered when my buddy that gets a little tired at work, would say that they're knackered, and I'm like, you're what? So we would say, I'm plumb tired, but that kind of like explains what it is. Knackered, and I'm like, what is a knacker?
They might think knacker, I mean, that would be the same for them.
Yeah,
thinking it explains itself.
Yeah, but I feel like I take the fun out of it, having to have someone explain something to me, or after they say it to me, I go and instant Google, like, what does this mean?
Pretend to understand what's going on.
Yeah, because I had someone say to me that I was fit, and I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, whoa, I don't know what that means. But yeah, and I had to go and Google. Google was my friend for that one, so yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Next one is, it's all gone pear-shaped.
Yes. So what we would say.
Yeah, our equivalent would be going to hell in a handbag.
Yep, we're going to hell in a handbag or hell in a handbasket.
Oh,
yeah. So that things have just gone completely awry. When I heard that expression, everything's gotten pear-shaped, I was like, what? Like, what does a pear-shape got to do with anything? But then I understood, like everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. What does that have to do with anything? So I kind of understand, but Google was my friend for that one. I did not stop them. I just listened to what they were saying and then went and Googled. So the next one is, don't get your knickers in a twist. So I completely understood that one because I say, don't get your panties in a bunch. So it's very similar. I knew what knickers were. It's just an old way of saying panties or undergarments. So, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And I absolutely love that. I love hearing all of these, just phrases, idioms for just little words.
And understand how you can compare it to what we think in our minds.
Yep.
Last one we got for the direct comparison one is, in America we call it a ballpark figure.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at getting a new house or car or something like that. You don't want for them to give you an exact price. Hey, just give me a ballpark figure what we're looking at.
On what, like someone coming and doing construction on
estimate,
your house, or just an estimate.
Yeah, something that you're not gonna hold them to, but it definitely gets you prepared for that.
It's not like a pen
written
estimate.
out like, hey, I'm gonna hold you to this. This is only what I can pay. It's just ballpark. You kind of where you're at. But over here, it's off the top of my head, so that's kind of self-explanatory.
Kind of self-explanatory, but it was just really cool to see what we would say in the United States and what you guys say over here in the UK. I thought it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So so the next one is going to just be things that we say in the United States, and if you hear something and we explain it to you and you have something that correlates with that, please leave it in the comments below. I would absolutely love to read all of these little comments, and if you have like something that, would be similar to what we're saying.
Yeah, because it's fun for us. We've traveled around the country and now into Europe. We like kind of taking little bits from East Coast, West Coast, South, and the North, and keeping it in our right, and just kind of putting it in our vocabulary, if you will.
Yeah.
So if you got some good ones,
please,
we're all ears.
Yeah, we would absolutely love for you guys to share. So, putting lipstick on a pig. Kind of trying to gussy something up. I don't know if you know what gussy is. Trying to make something better than, more appealing than it is.
Yeah.
Say you have a rusted out car, you just do like some Bondo and some spray paint.
Slap some spray paint on it and
just
call
to
it
make
good,
it,
just to get it to the next person.
Just to,
Not necessarily the right way to do it, but that
was the best,
it's a quick fix.
comparison that I could. Or, you know, putting lipstick on, you know, and a very unattractive, you know, person, you know, to dress them up, to make them look the part.
As presentable as you can.
And, you know, yeah. So.
Yeah. Next one is don't be a wet blanket.
Yeah, so that one is, you know, taking the joy out of things. Yeah. Kind of what I feel like when I'm having people
explain
stop what they're saying to explain their phrase or their idiom that I am not completely understanding, you know, because the humor here is very different, like we've said, you know what I mean? So it's like that. It's not really dry humor, but it's like that it makes sense kind of humor, like you're poking at someone, but, you know, only good friends will poke at you and call you out, you know, so that's the best thing.
A little bit different, a little bit of learning curve.
Yeah.
Next one is long in the tooth.
Yes, long in the tooth, meaning you're getting old, or it's an older item. You know, it's an older house, you know, it's going to need a lot of fixing, or, you know, you're old and you're a little, you know.
They've been around business a little while. They know a thing or two, and they're getting older with it.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. Next one is possibly over here as well, under the weather.
Under the weather, I think it may be, you know, I'll explain it for people that don't understand it, is when you're feeling sick, you know what I mean? I think they may also feel, say over here, that they are, you know, unwell, you know what I mean? Or something along those lines. So, yeah. You know, I like to say I feel under the weather, you know what I mean? That you're just like, I just want to lay out. And
it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like sick, but you're not feeling well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're just out of it.
Yeah.
You know, you're suffering with seasonal allergies or a slight cold.
A variety of different things.
Yeah.
Next one, spill the beans.
Spill the beans. I think you guys would say spill the tea. But correct me if I'm wrong. You know, it's just, you know, telling someone something that maybe you shouldn't be telling them, or, you know, telling them something that they have long awaited to hear about. So you're spilling the tea or spilling the beans. So, yeah.
Where are we at? Going Dutch.
Going Dutch.
So this one definitely could be used here as well.
It's just splitting the bill. You know what I mean? One person pays for their way and the other person pays for theirs. So, yeah, it's just splitting that bill. So let us know if that is something that you guys say here. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's natural when you're... When it's a couple of couples going out to go Dutch, you know, that makes sense. And it's seen in America as kind of cheeky.
That's another word that I absolutely love from over here.
I got that one from Wheeler Deal. I was like, I got it.
Yep. So that will be something, you know, that we will take back. There are quite a bit of these that we're sharing with you that we just absolutely love, that we will also implement and say when we are back in the States. So, yeah. So another one that we say in the States is a rain check. I think you may say that over here as well. Is just, you know, needing to reschedule. You already have, you know, plans in your diary, and so you're just needing to reschedule. You know, you just don't want it completely canceled. You just want it rescheduled.
Right. Let's see.
So these are my southern ones.
These are the southern ones.
The ones that I absolutely love.
So I'll read them off, and I'll have you do a little description of your southern ways.
I'm ready.
She's pitching a hissy fit.
So pitching a hissy fit means that the individual, it could be male or female, that they are just throwing a temper tantrum, or, you know, just acting unruly. That they are just showing out, you know, and you know, a parent cannot get them under control. So yeah. Yep.
I've been running over hell in creation.
I've been running all over hell in creation. That just means that you feel like you have been running around like a chicken with your head cut off. I don't know if that's another one that y'all don't know.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. So it just feels like you're running all over and you haven't had time to get anything else done.
Been doing a lot, but it doesn't seem like anything's been done.
It feels like you're, trying to tread water and trying to barely keep your head above that water. Yeah. So, yeah.
This one, you like this one. It just dills my pickle.
Yeah. So that one is just, they frustrate you. You know what I mean? That, you just dilled my pickle. That they are just not doing what you would have expected or anticipated, and they're just getting on your nerves a little bit. So.
Let's see. She can start an argument in an empty house.
Oh, yes. And that just means it could be male or female. That they can be in an empty house, and it doesn't matter. They will find something to argue about. Lord have mercy.
Argue just to argue.
Yes, just to hear themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, can I just flick you on the forehead to calm yourself down?
Porch lights on, but nobody's home.
That nobody's home. You know what I mean? They're just not all there. You know what I mean? It just, you feel like you're carrying on a conversation with someone that is just, you don't want to hear what's going to come out of their mouth because they ain't going to make any sense.
And then actually kind of the same one as this one. Dumber than a box of rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same.
Or
pretty close to the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this one, I'll go on this one.
Yes.
Please
take it.
This is my favorite one. So I'm from the north. She's from the south.
Yeah.
Her family is also from the south. When we first got together, I got to meet her wonderful pawpaw.
Yes.
And Meemaw at the same time as when we met them both, or I met them both. But anyways, we got up there late in the evening because we traveled to see them.
6 hours.
6 hours, yep, on the road. By the time we got there, we, did quick little introductions and everything and sat down, had a little conversation. And he said, well, if you're staying up for me, I'm better. Kind of did one of those numbers. And I said,
okay.
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I didn't say understand. I said I didn't hear what you said. So he repeated it about 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
And finally Jess took the cue and she's like, okay, we'll see you in the morning.
Yep.
So go ahead and explain exactly what that means.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so if you're staying up for me, I'm better. So back in the old days when somebody was sick, you weren't knowing if they were going to make it through the night, if they were going to be, if they just weren't going to make it. So the person that was in bed and there was somebody staying up with them to make sure that they were with them, to somebody was there if they passed, whatever the case is, the person in bed would look at them and saying, if you're staying up for me, I'm better. So go to sleep, you get some rest, I'll see you in the morning type thing. Yeah. So that's where that saying comes from, and I've quite enjoyed it since then.
Yeah. Yep. And Papa has since passed. So that is something that,
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be said for many years.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that one with me.
Yeah.
All right. This is a good one for you. Colder than a witch's titty.
It's one of my favorite terms. It just means it's really, really cold. I don't know where it came from, where it's derived from. I really don't know, but I absolutely love saying it, and I probably embarrass my kids saying it.
Just a good one to go by.
It's just so good. Colder than a witch's titty. And here recently, it is pretty big. It's
been dropping a little bit.
It's been not as cold as a witch's titty, but it's getting there.
If you're in the Ute.
Yes, if you're in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan or northern states in Canada, it is probably colder than a witch's titty right now.
Next one, busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
Yes, so that just means that you are extremely busy. Extremely busy, and you feel like you cannot catch up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty much says itself.
Self-explanatory, and I like using it.
Let's see. Couldn't find his ass from a hole in the ground.
Yes, so that just means that, they're not very smart, just like the dumber than a box of rocks.
Yeah, kinda.
And also useless as a screen door on a submarine.
Yep, that's the next one.
That's another one that is just, they're just not worth their weight in gold.
Or I was just thinking one uses his tits on a bowl.
Yes, that's another one. You know what I mean? You have those expressions, that people are just worthless.
Yeah.
It's not very nice, but when you have them, you have them, and you gotta
call a spade a spade.
Yeah, you gotta call it like you see it. So,
yep. Yeah. Last one. Butter my buns and call me a biscuit.
Butter my buns and call me a biscuit. So you guys, for all of our UK friends, a biscuit for us is a bread, a round.
It's a savory item.
Yeah, it's not sweet. So people have, compared it to a
savory
scone.
Scone, yeah.
But it's not as dense. It's more fluffy. It's more like a white bread.
Yeah.
That we pour gravy over top of. I will make it for you guys one day and share that, my southern breakfast, and do like a comparison for the UK breakfast and the good southern breakfast. You know what I mean? We'll do a side-by-side comparison. That would be great because it's a yummy thing. But
reap the benefits of it.
Heck yeah. But it's just saying that you're pleased. You know what I mean? That you're surprised by something, like butter my buns and call me a biscuit. So yeah. So guys, we really hope you enjoyed these phrases and stuff. So right now I am going to add the drive. So enjoy. Not you driving off the road.
Just trying to get your attention.
Right. So today we're going to Newmarket to pick up a piece that
something that you've had your eye on for a while.
Yeah.
A piece like that, not necessarily this one.
Yeah, I've been wanting. I think it'll be good for my apothecary and for Daydreamers barn, the actual barn when we move back to the United States.
Getting that established.
Yeah, and I am really excited to be able to put my paints in it, put my, whatever I'm gonna need for the actual barn to provide classes and all of that stuff. So I'm just excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun piece.
Also, it is beautiful today. Today is November 5th. It is Guy Fawkes Day.
Guy Fawkes, I think.
Guy Fawkes? I don't know. But we seen fireworks last night. That was really nice.
We were going to go see some, but they got canceled.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was flooded. So we were going to enjoy the ones that Down in Market was putting on, but it was flooded out. So the tickets got reimbursed, which was nice.
Yep, so we got a little free show at the house. Got to poke our heads out the front door.
Yeah, we were really looking forward to being able to go because one of our friends has a food truck that was going to be there, and they were going to put on like a full-on show.
Reenactment, yep.
And so I was looking forward to that, and to be able to just be a part of history here and learn a little bit more. Yeah, I absolutely love learning, and as you all know, that the more we can learn and appreciate the differences and the similarities, the better we are as Americans, and we can educate other Americans and you guys, kind of show you through our eyes, our looking lenses. So up here they just put up a Five Guys at Five Ways, which just really weird. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. It's super expensive in my mind. My opinion, it's a waste of time.
Not bad burgers, but they definitely inflate the price.
Yeah. So I'm just thankful. Shane and I took a drive the other day. We were going to go and check out a castle. Was unable to because everything's just been flooding around here, which is unfortunate. But I think I'll throw that video in here just to appreciate the beautiful colors and so y'all can see me drive. Yeah, it's just been, we've just been having a ball. We went to the cathedral yesterday, and yeah, it's just been fun.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to get out on days like today too, where it's, like you said, it's nice out.
Yeah. Also, it's just a relaxing Sunday.
Yeah. Get out before the sun goes down again.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the time change and it getting dark at 4 right now? It's going to be 3 soon. Right?
Yeah, I think the last year it was the earliest like 3 or 3:30, something like that.
It's crazy. So hopefully the noise is not too loud that you can hear us. We are right now driving in Dobby. We're enjoying this little van. She's been good. She's been really good.
Yeah, very, very, very happy with the performance so far. Comfortability.
Yeah, it
works really well for our family setup right now.
Yeah, it's just been overall a pleasant experience. Yeah, I don't think we've ever checked out Newmarket.
Really?
Yeah.
Not to any big extent.
already said he's coming to visit us. And as soon as when we go back to the United States, he said he's coming. And then Paul realized that Clive and his wife are coming. He said, well, that means that me and Bev will come. I said, that sounds good. I said, we would love you guys to come.
Yeah.
It was just, it's so nice to know that, you know, to be able to make true friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially when you are so far away from home, and to meet people that you never expected to be able to call family.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Yeah. He said, so Clive said, so you're going to have the farm? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, where are we going to stay? I said, well, we'll have like a little place for people to come and stay. And I was like, well, you do have to know that we have bear, you know, that we do have bear there.
Yep.
And we have wolves, and we have spiders. And he said, whoa now. and I was like, yeah, they're big spiders. I said, but we're used to having someone come in every month and, you know, and spray to prevent the bugs from coming into your home. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And so he was like, okay, that's okay. And he was like, okay, so how close are the bear? He said, do you have moose too? And I said, yeah, we have big moose. I said, they are not friendly.
All the big animals over there.
Yeah. And so he was like, oh no.
The eagles too, the bald eagles.
Yeah. Oh, Axel has to look out for those. But I showed him my boots, my like cowboy boots.
Yeah.
And I told him what we call them over there. And they're called shit kickers, or what I'm used to calling them. And he looked at me like really odd, like, what? Why are you calling them that? I said, well, you know, that's what
they're working boots.
That's what they're called. You know, normally you're cleaning out the stalls, you're kicking it, you're mucking out stalls and stuff. So you're kicking that shit around.
That's right. It's in the name.
It's in the name. So this is a big race city, I guess. Golly.
Horse racing.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, a lot. I think it's the radio. Is it like rich people?
I mean, if they got a racehorse area, I imagine so.
Yeah, that's true.
Those don't come cheaply.
No. Horses are not cheap in general.
No. Especially ones that are bred specifically for racing.
Yeah. Or doing some equestrian sport.
Yeah.
Is it equestrian?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly certain. I think so. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen so I can correct myself. Oh. Bedford. There's a church. Ooh. A little bumpy.
A little bit.
What is that?
I think
You got the green light.
Here we go.
So here is the piece that we picked up. It is not in the best shape and it smells like cigarette smoke, which is totally fine. I know I can fix it. But what color do you think I should paint it? It is solid. It feels like it is a solid piece, but it does need some love. So give me some input. I would love to know your opinion. So guys, we really appreciate you watching the video and taking the time just to support our channel. So if you're new here, thank you for subscribing. And if you're one of our old, subscribers, again, thank you for all of the continued support. We really appreciate you guys. So as always, be good, make good choices, and if you could, please be kind to someone today. I really appreciate you guys. Bye.